relationships need space to thrive. I'm a huge, huge believer in this. Esther Perel, world-renowned psychotherapist, public figure, author, says that fire needs air, right? If you smother a fire, it goes out. If you smother a person, that's going to have an impact on your relationship. So I'm a huge believer in this. People need space. They need alone time. They need time away from each other to miss each other, to bring an element of surprise and mystery to the relationship. If you're spending all your time with somebody, there's no mystery because there's no time for mystery to cultivate or to happen, right? You know almost everything about what they're doing because you're spending so much time together. There's this concept of fusional relationships, right? Two people that come together and they sort of fuse. They become bonded as one, right? The couple becomes the most important thing in one or both of these people's lives. And I really don't think that's healthy. I don't. I mean, if both people want to spend all their time together and they're perfectly happy with that, cool, right? Just like anything, you do you. If that works for you, great. In my experience, that has not worked for me. I need space away from my partner for me time, rest, relaxation, hobbies, exercise, playing with friends. And I want my partner to have that too. I want my partner to have her time. And then I want us to have us time. And I think it's easy for people to fall into spending a lot of time together. And this topic might not resonate with a lot or some of you because we're in a global pandemic. And I know that at least a significant portion of my audience are single, right? And so you might not resonate with this, but stick with it because you'll learn language to ask for needs. Ask for some of your needs to be met from your loved ones. But this particular conversation is about how to ask for space from your loved one, lover, partner, person that you're dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. How to ask for space. Because this is a really hard thing to do. First of all, I think people feel that if they're asking for space, there might be something wrong with the relationship. They're also maybe scared of if they ask for space, that's going to hurt the other person's feelings. Right? The other person's going to think, oh, they don't want to spend time with me. They must not like me. But that's not what we're doing when we're asking for space. We're just asking for space, time apart, time to do other things than be in the relationship, time for us to miss each other, right? When you ask for space, you're asking for time to miss the other person. You can't miss the other person if you're with them all the time. It's impossible. Can't happen. And I want to miss my partner. I really do. Asking for space is super hard to do, especially if you've never done it before, especially if when you've done it in the past, people have responded negatively, especially if you don't feel that your needs are valid. And just like anything, this is an awkward conversation at first, but it doesn't have to be. And also, I want to preface this by saying that these tools that I teach, they're for healthy relationships, or mostly healthy relationships. Asking for space from someone that you're in an unhealthy or toxic relationship with is not going to go well. it's just not going to go well. If your partner is extremely anxious, this is going to be hard. If you don't feel that your needs are valid, this is going to be hard. If your partner tends to blow up or get really reactive or defensive or angry, this isn't going to go well. These tools are for healthy-ish relationships. And there's a lot that we can do to soften the language when we make a request. But if your partner isn't healthy-ish and isn't willing to work with you and isn't willing to compromise and isn't willing to take your needs into consideration, then it doesn't matter how soft the language is, this stuff will not work. And if you're in this kind of relationship, I want to invite you to reflect on what it is that you're getting from this relationship. If you can't ask for a need from your lover or your partner without them blowing up and getting aggressive, then I want you to question whether this relationship is bringing more to your life than it's costing. Because I really think that relationships on the whole, generally, should bring more to your life than they cost, right? Cost being time, commitment, energy, resources, right? Relationships need work and maintenance. They're not just easy all the time. But if your relationship is mostly work and very little benefits, right? Connection, intimacy, closeness, laughter, play, sex, lightness, companionship, the list goes on. If it's mostly work, friction, disagreements, conflict without any of the good stuff, then I would question what you're doing in that relationship and whether that relationship is actually in service of you and your purpose here on this world. So that's just a little side note about how hard this is. And if you're not in a good place in your relationship, this isn't going to magically make it any better. But going back to the importance of space and of asking for what you want, you're not going to get anything unless you ask for it. I mean, you could magically pray and hope that your loved one will meet your needs for space without you asking for them, but it's highly, highly unlikely, right? The best way that I know to get my needs met is to use my words. Use your words. I was going to say my language. The best tool that I know is to ask for what I want. And sometimes I need space. Sometimes that looks like saying, hey, honey, I love you. This weekend, I want to spend it alone. And I'd also like to not be texting all weekend. So if you're up for it, I'd love to catch up with you on Monday. Is that something you're up for? I got a lot of pushback from this language on TikTok last week when I made a little video about this exact language for how to ask for space. A lot of people got really triggered, really, really triggered. And they said that their anxiety would not be able to handle their partner asking for space and no contact for a weekend. They assumed that their partner was going to be cheating on them or was going to break up with them. When really, this is a very simple script to say, babe, I love you. I don't want to spend time with you this weekend. I know that might be hard to hear, but it's really just me wanting space to take care of myself, to hang out with my friends. I also don't want to spend the whole weekend texting. And I just want to be clear with you, there's nothing wrong with our relationship. I just think that it's healthy to have time apart. So that's what I'd like to do this weekend. How does that sound? I'd love to connect on Monday if you're up for it. Right? So it's collaborative. How does that sound? You're like getting their buy-in. You're saying, this is a finite amount of time. I just want to spend the weekend apart. How does that sound? Right? We're going to reconnect on Monday. So it's not open-ended. And you're softening it on the front end by saying, I love spending time with you. There's nothing wrong with our relationship right now. I just want some time. And how secure your relationship is going to have a big impact on how your partner is going to take this and how easy this conversation is going to be. And also, if your relationship isn't that secure and you ask for space like this, it might bring up a conversation around insecurity, which might lead to another conversation about commitment or about clarity. What are we? So asking for space can lead to more clarity, more security in your relationship. The more you practice this stuff, the easier it gets. And the more you communicate, the more you'll learn about your partner, their needs, your needs, their reactions, their stories, their anxieties. This is how you build intimacy, by daring to have difficult conversations. And over time, this becomes a lot easier, right? I can ask my partner for space and it's not a big deal. She's like, cool, talk to you on Monday. I love you. Have a beautiful weekend. Can't wait to connect with you. If you live together and are raising children together, it's obviously harder to spend a whole weekend apart, though it is doable. I've heard from people like booking Airbnbs for the weekend just for like a weekend apart alone to rest and recover. But it doesn't have to be a whole weekend. It could just be a walk or an evening. Honey, I love you. I'd love to spend this evening alone. I'm going to take a bath, maybe take the dog for a walk, and do like a Zoom with my friends. So just want to let you know, I'm super pumped to check in before we fall asleep tonight. How's that sound for you? Even I am struggling a little bit with the language, right now in this moment, because I recognize that this isn't easy to do, and it can really sound like you don't want to spend time with the person, which, let's be honest, that's actually what we're saying. We're saying, I love you, and right now I don't want to spend time with you. But it's not because I don't love you. It's just that I need me time. I think that's what's really important, is to bring it back to the personal. It's not personal to them. It's personal to you. I'm doing this because I need to take care of myself and spend some time alone, or spend some time with my friends, or spend some time without you. This is really where the study of dialectics comes in, right? The idea of the paradox. I both love you and want to not spend time with you right now. I both love spending time with you and really need to be alone. These two things can coexist, and they do. But I think what happens is when we ask for space, people automatically assume that you don't like them anymore, that you don't want to spend time with them, that you don't want to see them, when that's not true. I mean, that's true sometimes, but for the most part, if you love your partner, you can ask for space without it meaning that you don't want to be with them anymore. That's my little pep talk on the importance of asking for space and also how to do it. And before we leave, as always, modify these scripts for your relationship and your style. These are just suggestions. They're jumping off points. They're examples of what it might look like to ask for space. Modify them, adapt them, make them your own. Make them more lovey-dovey or less lovey-dovey. Make them more complete. But if you struggle asking for space and it's something that you desperately want, then I invite you to give it a shot. And if your partner is the one needing space and does the courageous thing by asking you for it, I think that's beautiful. And it probably doesn't mean that they don't want to be with you anymore. It probably means that they want space so that they can continue to miss you. My name is Sean Galanos, and this is The Love Drive. Have a beautiful week.